All right, what's up, guys? I think I'm live. I think we're good to go. Almost knocked my mic over. I think we are good to go. Up and at 'em. And yeah, I'm ready to do some spy technical analysis. I'm gonna keep it quick and brief. I know it's late for some of you guys, probably 9 o'clock for some of you guys already. And so I'm trying to do these after hours episodes much sooner. The soonest I could do it is probably like 4 other than right after market. So my plan long term is to stream for a couple hours while the market's open, do some live trading, and then maybe do a second stream every day where I do an after hour show. We'll see. But the goal is still to do a stream every day and live trade unless things come up. But I'll try to keep you guys privy to that information and just try to get better at that this year and better at communicating with all of you guys in general as a community. So let me just make sure this is all good up and running. I'm not sure how the audio is sounding. It should be okay, but I'm not monitoring it right now. Last night I was. If you caught that stream, thank you. So I'm just checking on my phone. And my kids are being pretty loud outside, but I think we're good. I think we're in the clear on that one. I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. So we are going to take a look at SPY in just a second. I'm just going to let anyone else trickle in here. I know I'm still getting consistent with this. So YouTube's my impressions are so down. To just give you guys an idea, compared to at peak or at peak average, I mean, I probably get 1 to 5% of the same people to even see a thumbnail. So it really just takes being consistent, and then eventually, that picks up, and then it kind of happens, within a couple days. All of a sudden, it's like boom, up 1,000% impression wise. So, you just kind of have to battle through it sometimes. And another thing I'm gonna do, the $8 challenge, that has just been, man, eating me up, and hasn't really done much, because of the impressions and things like that. So because of all that, I'm just going to combine them all into one video. That way you only have to, watch one disclaimer. You can see it from start to finish, how I took $8 and grew it to $100, and which is 1,000%. So I look forward to sharing that with you guys. And, I'm completely transparent, always have been. And of course, I share my losses along the way because that's all part of the journey. But let's get into it, shall we? Now we are looking at SPY, and today, if I can get over there, was looking pretty good. I feel like I lost my train of thought for a second. But let's just start looking at the charts, shall we? Before I forget what I was saying. Now, my kids were being pretty loud, but I think they've simmered down. And I also have a heater on right now, but I think I got the volume under control, and the mics are pretty tuned up. So thank goodness for high quality audio. So looking at SPY, these are those channels we drew yesterday, given those two scenarios, whether it breaks out to the top or the bottom, up or the downside, however you want to say it, tomato, tomato. And let's look at the 1 hour chart here and see how it played out. Man, look at that. No coincidence, you guys. I did this all live. You could have done it with me and could have been prepared. This resistance level, the fact it rejected right there, it's not a coincidence. That's just all technical analysis playing out exactly how you want it to play out. It's never going to be perfect, but like I was saying yesterday, that's why it's good to draw channels and a range. And then when you draw a wedge like this, typically you don't see it break out till the last 30% or so. Of course, there's always situations where it breaks out almost immediately, or breaks out after, or it doesn't break out at all. But those are just the averages, and since this is trading, we like to take all that information and use it to our advantage. The more data points you have, the more tools in your belt, the higher your success rate will be. And of course, managing risk, setting stop losses, and things like that. Whoa, sorry about that. I guess that didn't really matter, but one of my lights is like motion detected, like the main one in here, and then the studio lights aren't. So yeah, if you see me just flail my arm, it's because I'm getting the lights to go back on. And yeah, funny story for you guys. One time I think I was in my bedroom or something, and it was just dark, and I just, for no reason, I just like waved my arm in the air, and I was just like, what am I doing? I was trying to turn the lights on through magic, because it's just a habit for me when it gets dark in here. And sometimes I'll be sitting working diligently, and then I'll randomly just decide to move. It's not always like in the moment. So yeah, I felt pretty damn stupid, but it's funny at the same time. So anyways, to get back on track, looking at SPY and the specific levels I'll be watching for tomorrow. Well, given that we did break through resistance here, that's a good sign. And of course, it rejected and came back down, but we did hold support. So keep an eye on these levels. Now let's zoom into the 15-minute chart. Hopefully, we can see a little bit better what's going on. I keep rearranging everything, so I'm like, it's been a it's been a struggle. I moved my studio from one room to another room, and then that's partially why I didn't get to stream earlier today, because I was resetting everything up, which is a pain. But anyways, thanks for being here. Back to the charts. Now we have RSI and MACD on here. Whether you use TTM or MACD, they are pretty similar. You can use them very similar ways. I'm not going to go through those specifically right now, but I have covered them on on my channel before. So it's somewhere in there. I apologize. I don't know off the top of my head. That's something I could get better at, is being able to point people at videos I've already made. But at the same time, I am gonna, just remake a lot of videos. It's good for me. It's good for you. It's always good to refresh, your memory. Whether you've learned it just 6 months ago or 6 years ago, it's always good to refresh, just to make sure you're still on track. And it's always just a good reassuring feeling. So anyways, back to the charts. Looking at the 15-minute, tomorrow I'm going to be watching for that resistance really around 689. But depending on where we open up, that could change pretty quick. I really just want to see it remain in this upward channel, and hopefully it doesn't come down. If it does come down, I will watch for support along this upper portion of the downward channel. That was a little tricky to say. But again, TA is king, you guys. Just be patient. Wait for those moves. The market, it was a nice slow uptrend through pre-market. And by the time market opened up, it was already in a strong position. So just being patient and ready for those is what will separate you from everything else. But if you make a bad trade, do not beat yourself up. It happens to absolutely everyone. I've made 1,000 bad trades. But it's all about keeping your losses small, keeping your gains bigger than your losses, and just winning more than you lose. It doesn't have to be complicated. And again, that is my whole mission here. So looking at SPY tomorrow, I'm gonna be watching for resistance around 689. Once we break through there, 689.50, it's gonna be pretty close to the all-time high, 691. Man, so look for pretty strong resistance around 690, 690.50. This range specifically, I believe there was a gap. There was a small gap. I think it might have been around. Actually, we have to look at the daily, I think. I don't know why it's not showing my gaps. It's supposed to highlight the gap. Show candle gap. Oh. That's not. That is not exactly what I was looking for. Chart settings. Maybe more? 5? I swear there was a bigger gap. Well, now I feel like a fool. But I know it was probably. Oh, you know what the problem is? That's the problem. I had extended hours on. So look at the daily. It goes in the hour. You can see we just gapped up over the weekend, but this was the gap I was looking for right here. Man, I'm not crazy. Just a little rusty right now, you guys. So this gap from, 689 to 690, about $1 or so. Just watch that range close. Because there has not been a lot of price action at that level, you're going to see some volatility. So that is why we reached up and touched it, because that was, the bottom of the gap. And we quickly sold off right there, because historically that's what has happened. And there's no support. There's not a lot of people holding on right there. Because we are hitting all-time highs, it does get a little tricky. But I can tell you there's a way to play every situation in the market. And when you're hitting those all-time highs, the best way to play it is, again, be patient. Patience pays. But just look for those even levels, 690, 691, 690, 50. And at the same time, watch the volume. If it's a low volume day, don't expect any big moves. That's a good way to get caught in the chop and eaten up. Don't force trades. All of those things you will learn over time if you haven't already. I know some of you guys watching are, just as good at trading or better than me. Some of you guys are some real vets, so it is cool. And if you're not in Discord already, feel free to join it. It's free down below. Would love to have you there. So many like-minded people, so many good traders, new traders, expert traders, like I said, all different levels. And it's been really cool to watch everyone learn and grow over the time. I mean, time is flying. And this year, I really want to make a big push to, see how far I can take the channel, because I think the sky's the limit. But I don't want to, only focus on trading stocks, like I said before. I am trying to diversify the channel a little bit, but trading and stocks will always be, the centerpiece of it. So maybe eventually I'll branch out, and just make some other channels. I don't know. But for now, I'm just going to keep it all here. If you have any questions, happy to help you guys. But these are those levels again. I'm watching for SPY tomorrow. Looking for resistance really around 689.50, depending on where we open up. We could open up at 689. If we open up at 689, I'm going to be watching for 689.50 for sure for resistance, and then 689 for support. So just be careful what you're doing. And if you forget, what to watch for, just zoom out, look for those big levels of support and resistance, and you can even draw some horizontal lines if that helps you. I've done this a lot. And this is one way to just visualize it easier, so you don't get lost in the sauce. Sometimes you can be too zoomed in and you can kind of forget where support and resistance are, whether it's, short term or long term. It really depends on your trading style. If you want to hold something for weeks or months, you're not going to be looking at the same support and resistance lines. You definitely have more of a tolerance, more wiggle room. But if you're day trading, you're going to want to keep it pretty tight, and you want to know when to expect a move to happen. So that could be the support level right there. For example, I'll just lock it in, because all the time I'll accidentally grab one and drag it, and next thing you know, the chart's a mess. It actually looks pretty crazy right now already. But it's, if you were there, it's organized chaos. And then you can draw another one. Wait. And then you can draw resistance. It's going to be around here, 690.15 or so, I would say. Nope, I haven't got nothing to type. And lock that in there. So that's what I'm going to be watching for to the upside. To the downside, support-wise, you can look at the 200 moving average right here, EMA. And I haven't mentioned it today, but the 2150 and 200 EMA, I love those. They're great tools to watch, and indicators to have on the chart. Just, again, to give you a little bit more data points, more to work with. The more the merrier. Not always, though. You can definitely overdo it, and it just becomes a mess. So, sometimes less is more. So a little bit contradicting myself, but hopefully you guys understand. If it's becoming too complicated, pull back. Just go to, one or two indicators and just try to work with that. And then eventually you can kind of layer them on, and you just get better at it. and it doesn't take as much time. Like I can look at this and quickly glance and see what's going on. But when I first started, if I were to look at this, I would have been so lost. It would have been, insane. There's no way I would have been able to figure it out. But just through time, research, asking questions, all of that, you'll get the hang of it. So don't let this overwhelm you if it is, because it definitely could. So let's just go back to the bigger charts, take a look at some of the other stocks. Apple did not have a good day. What's going on there? Negative news. Opened up on a different screen. Well, this says in the latest trading session, Apple closed down 1.38% from the previous day. Yada yada. Shares of the maker of iPhones, iPads, and other products have depreciated by 3% over the course of the past month, underperforming the computer and technology sector. Was there a reason? Based on our research, we believe these estimate revisions are directly related to a near-term stock moves. Investors should also note any recent changes to analyst estimates for Apple. These latest adjustments often mirror the shifting dynamics. One should further note that Apple currently holds a PEG ratio of 2.54, akin to the commonly utilized profit earnings ratio, but measure is also incorporates the company's anticipated earnings growth rate. Well, okay, that did not answer my question. I'm guessing based off of that, analysts downgraded it. Apple's valuation limits near-term upside potential. Okay, so just a little bit of trash talking going on. Almost no one is buying Apple's Vision Pro headset. I believe that, and I think it's probably because it's just way too expensive. Who wants to spend like $2 or $3 grand on this thing? You need to make that thing in the hundreds. 1,000 would even be pushing it. People don't even want to pay 1,000 for a phone. It's kind of the standard these days. Okay, what else is going on? AMD had a big gap up, it looks like, but then sold off. Sinks its market gains. Here's why. Ended its recent trading session. Swing, let's see. Company is scheduled to release its earnings May 6th. Okay, that's a long time. The company's forecast report. Let's see. This is not giving me much information. Kathy Woods beats S&P 500 in 2025. Yeah, that's good because ARK was not doing so hot a few years ago, so that's good she pulled out of that. Having expectations this high for underdog AMD is a bad idea. All right. Beyond Meat, not looking good. Not looking good. I need to just get that off the charts. Just kind of been hanging out there for no reason. Microsoft. Big sell-off 2 days ago. Looks like it's just barely holding on. Microsoft acquires Osmos to boost AI data engineering and fabric. Interesting. What's going on in the overall market? So the overall the overall market was green today, up 1.2 on the Dow, 0.64 S&P, and 0.69 on the Nasdaq. Top gainer of the day. Is that it, really? 139%. Okay. It's not very impressive for a top gainer on a penny stock. You could easily do that in options for sure. Top options, TLT. Whoa. I almost just knocked my microphone straight down. Alright, just going to look this one up. And going to wrap up the stream pretty soon here. hate to leave you guys early, but I do have stuff I gotta get going to. And I just really wanted to get on here and tell you guys what was going on, give you a brief update, give you guys my thoughts on the market. Hopefully that helped some of you guys yesterday. As you saw, it did play out quite well, hitting that resistance level on the upward channel and coming back down, building support, just like we talked about yesterday. The 20-year, okay, so people are really going heavy on the 20-year bond calls. Interesting. Top options. Wait. Okay. Top options volume is always SPY. I've never seen a day it wasn't. For a second, I thought it was. I was like, hold on, Q beat SPY? What is going on? Maybe I'll trade Q more often. But SPY, you can see the top ones for the day. Popular stocks, icon, fat brands, Zim, advanced flower. Silver up 2%. Silver has just been nuts. Look at that. Silver is about to hit a new all-time high. Climbing. If you're trading futures, this is pretty easy money right now. It looks like it's about to break out. Oh, yeah. I will be getting back to futures too soon. Maybe that's something that I will be able to stream later at night that would make more sense. But again, I wanted to recap the market for the day, kind of give you guys what I'm looking for tomorrow, and hopefully that helps some of you guys out. Maybe I'll make a clip of this. A lot of the times the clips they'll get more views because the way the impressions are, it will just push it out to more people. But when I'm live, it just, it ain't happening. But I think given time and consistency, it will. So don't know unless you try. But thank you guys so much for being here. And yeah, that's it for the day. I mean, we can look at Q, but it's not going to be too much different. And if anyone has any specific questions about any stocks, I'm happy to give you guys my thoughts and opinions. Not a financial advisor, but I've been doing this since 2018. So, that counts for something. So anyways, hope you guys are staying happy and healthy, and I will see you tomorrow.